thanks for joining us on our streaming service for your First Alert Avalanche Report. I'm your First Alert meteorologist, Callie Zanandri. And joining me is Deputy Director of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center, Brian Lazar. Brian, after getting so much snow before Thanksgiving, we're talking feet of snow in some places. It's been mild and dry. What does this mean for avalanche danger going into the weekend?
Yeah, it helps to start by kind of looking at what happened. And that storm over Thanksgiving really did launch us into winter and set us up with a nice snowpack as we move forward into this dry period. So here's the snow water equivalent graph across the state of Colorado. And the thing I want to point to is this big vertical rise in statewide snow water equivalent, or the amount of snow on the ground in terms of water. And you can see we had this big bump from the Thanksgiving storm, which puts us well above long-term median, which is this green line. And what that looks like on a basin scale is you can see those blue areas were well above long-term median. Statewide, we're at over 120% of long-term median. Even our drier basins in the north are doing quite well from this Thanksgiving storm, which was really great news. And then since that Thanksgiving storm, you can see here on the y-axis, this is the number of avalanches we were receiving per day. And so during and right after that Thanksgiving storm, we saw dozens of avalanches per day. But you can see since that storm, the number of avalanches has been decreasing pretty precipitously. We are in this high pressure system, a lot of dry weather, a lot of sunshine. Snowpack has settled and adjusted to that load. You can see that most of the avalanche activity ran on west through north through east facing slopes, and southerly facing terrain offers generally safer travel conditions.
You know, you've seen the number of avalanches decrease, but if you do trigger an avalanche, they could still be large and very dangerous.
Yeah, and that condition, Callie, has actually kind of exacerbated itself with all that Thanksgiving snow. So what we've moved into is a lot of moderate avalanche danger across the state of Colorado, even some areas of green, which suggest generally safe avalanche conditions. But these moderate conditions point to exactly what you're talking about, which are these lower probability, lower chance of triggering an avalanche. But with all that new snow from last week sitting on top of our previously weak foundation, the consequences of an avalanche have not gone down, and in some cases have gone up. So you can see if you do trigger avalanches, now they're breaking deeper, they're breaking a little bit wider, and most of the avalanche activity we're seeing are large enough to bury, injure, or kill a person. So again, this low probability kind of high consequence scenario is what we're dealing with, and it's largely because our snowpack across the state looks like this. We have the Thanksgiving storm in the top half, which is forming the slab, which is failing on that weak snow underneath, and then that's propagating avalanches, which are much wider. We had a forecaster in the field in the southern Saguache Range the other day, and he describes the situation there, but it's really illustrative of what's going on statewide. So I just want to show you that quickly.
Hey, this is Ben with the CAIC here in Taylor Park in the southern Saguache Range. I'm at about 11,000 feet. I was just walking up this hill, triggered a collapse. You can see the crack right there, and it occurred just as I got on top of these shallowly buried rocks. The slab thins right on top of these rocks. Perfect trigger point to trigger a large avalanche. Here in the southern Saguache area, you can still trigger large avalanches on many slopes, especially above about 11,000 feet, where the slabs get a little bit thicker, stronger, and can break much wider.
And I think that pretty much captures the message across the state. You get above 11,000 feet on those northerly and easterly facing slopes, you can still trigger these large and destructive avalanches.
Our next big change rolls in on Sunday night with mountain snow starting up. We could get a widespread 4 to 12 inches of snow up in the high country. Brian, what does this mean for avalanche danger going into next week?
It's going to kind of slow down the snowpack stabilizing. It's not enough snow to move the needle in avalanche danger, so we expect moderate avalanche danger to continue through this storm early next week and into the middle part of next week. But it might add a new flavor of avalanches that people need to be aware of, and that's for wind-drifted slabs at the higher elevation, particularly in those areas that pick up more than about 8 inches of new snow Sunday and Monday.
So always best, check that avalanche report before you go out and always be prepared. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brian, and we will see you here next week for your First Alert Avalanche Report.